In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the findings and ideas in my new book on entrepreneurial mastery, because I believe that learning how to be a master entrepreneur is probably the best investment you will ever make in yourself and in your business. And I think that entrepreneurship is a set of skills, just like being a pianist or an accountant or a lawyer or a basketball player. Whatever it is you do, you're going to have to learn how to do it well. And what amazes me is how many people start a business, yet they don't know how to be a successful entrepreneur. So I'm going to go through the results of over 25 years of me being an entrepreneur, of teaching entrepreneurship, of writing about it and studying it in thousands of companies, and introduce you to a system which I'm absolutely certain will increase your chances of success and dramatically reduce the risk of failure. And it's never been more important than right now to really learn how to be an outstanding entrepreneur, because there's a perfect storm of threats facing your business, and it's only going to get worse. If we look at some of these threats, you'll be familiar with them. We're stuck in a long-term recession. There's a real credit crunch. Getting money has never been harder. There's low consumer confidence. With disruptive technology and the internet, social media, mobile, that's changing the way we all do business. Just look at what's happening in the high street, and that's going to extend to every business as more and more goes online. It's very hard to find the sort of people we need to grow our business, to find people who can deal with all this complexity and all this change. There's never been a greater need for talent right now. Yet it's the big companies that are getting the talent, and small businesses are struggling to find the people they need to expand and grow. Margins are tighter than they've ever been. Customer expectations are higher, and extraordinary experience is the basis now that everybody expects when they're dealing with suppliers. There's extreme competition. And that competition is going to increase. Not just businesses doing what you're doing now, but whole new business models that are coming from all over the world. When I started in business, my competitors were mainly in the UK and to some extent in Europe and the States. Now, due to technology and the levelling of the playing field, we're in competition with millions, hundreds of millions of people around the world, and that's only going to get worse. A few years ago, a friend of mine in the States called Marshall Goldsmith wrote a book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And I think this is a very powerful statement, because if you run a small business, what got you here to where you are today is a very different set of skills to what you need to get you there to achieve your outcomes. If you're in employment and you're starting a business, the skills that got you here to success as an employee are completely different to the skills you're going to need to be a successful entrepreneur. So right at the beginning, I think it's very important to accept that if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a successful businessman or businesswoman, you really need to make a very big decision. And that decision is, are you going to invest in yourself? Are you going to invest in being a better entrepreneur? Surely, if you're going to go to the time, effort and cost of running your own business, it's worth doing well. In fact, I'd argue that it's most important skill in your life, if you're going to run a business, is to learn how to be an excellent entrepreneur. Yet so few people actually learn how. And the result of this lack of knowledge and skills is that within 10 years, 90% of businesses have failed, or they're just stagnating. Only 10% are still growing at the end of 10 years. And that number, I'm convinced, is going to decrease for the reasons I said earlier. Increased competition, complexity and change. It's never been harder to start a business. Yet more and more people want to start a business. They watch Dragon's Den or The Apprentice. They see all the Virgin Fast Track 100 and they say, yes, that's me. I want to be part of this revolution. I want to be an entrepreneur. But being an entrepreneur is a set of skills. If you say, I want to be a concert pianist, you don't just read a few books. You don't just go and talk to your friends. You don't just watch a TV program. No, you practice, and you practice for thousands of hours. And in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he showed convincingly that those people who are world-class in anything practice for a minimum of 10,000 hours. So surely, again, as an entrepreneur, you're going to practice. You're going to get better. So why am I saying these things, and why listen to me? Well, first of all, I've done it. I founded, owned and built my own business to 28 million a year. I know what it's like to be a successful entrepreneur. And surely you want somebody who's done it to actually be teaching you how to do it. Secondly, I've taught courses in management, entrepreneurship at Oxford University. I was an adjunct fellow at Linacre College and taught a lot of students about every area of management and leadership and social psychology, which is a very important part of running a business, understanding ourselves and understanding people. I've coached over 1,000 managers and executives at large organisations like HSBC, BT, BA, Barclays. I've coached over 1,000 small business owners, published 2 books on personal and professional development. I'm an authority on internet marketing and sales, and I'm the only European member of one of the world's most exclusive mastermind groups that contains some of the biggest names on the internet. So I'm really highly experienced in business, but also at the cutting edge of what's happening right now internationally. And I think I'm pretty well able to predict what's going to be happening over the next few years and the skills that you need to be a successful business owner. So my first book was Take Charge of My Mind, the second book on Magic of Groundhog Day, both about personal and professional development. And my new book is all about entrepreneurial mastery. What are the personal and business skills that you need to be a successful entrepreneur in whatever market, whatever product, whatever economic climate that is thrown at you? It's a set of very specific skills that will make you successful. And why are businesses successful? Why do some entrepreneurs, in fact 10%, succeed and 90% fail? Well, the fact is there is some luck. There are circumstances. You know, if you enter the right market at the right time and that market explodes, there's a good chance your business will explode too. If your partner is related to the CEO of Shell and you're trying to sell some oil services, or a big company, or there's some connection, you have some family link, that's always going to help. There is some luck involved, there's no question of it, but it's the smallest part. Far more important is what I call the technical skills. Now, these are the skills you've learned in a particular business. If you've been a successful chef, then you're far more likely to be successful running your own restaurant than trying to run a practice of architects or accountants or a web design company, because you've got a set of skills, you've got the experience, you've got the contacts, the resources, the networks, the know-how to make it happen. So having experience in a particular market, or the sorts of skills that do really well in that market, often if you're very good at selling, you can go to a lot of different industries, for example, but there should be a match. And if you've got that in your favour, that's going to increase your odds of success. But you know what? You can have all the luck going for you. You can have all the experience of your business with contacts lined up, the marketing all right, and the products there, but you can still fall and fail. And the reason is because you haven't become an entrepreneurial master. You haven't mastered the art of the science of entrepreneurship. And in my model, this accounts for at least 50%. Because you can know it all, you can have it all laid out for you, but it's about the actual doing of it. It's about the day-to-day actions and thoughts and habits of a successful entrepreneur. And this is where people go seriously wrong. They just don't learn what needs to be done. And you learn by doing. It's not about knowledge. It's not about what degrees you have. Yes, a lot of these things can help, but it's about the actual practice of entrepreneurship. The good news is, though, that it's a skill that you can learn. You can get better at being an entrepreneur. And I argue strongly that entrepreneurial mastery is the key to your success. So what is entrepreneurial mastery? Well, I've studied over 1,000 small businesses in the UK and the US over the last 5 years, and I believe I've discovered the primary causes of why 90% of these businesses fail, and more importantly, why 10% succeed. So these are the characteristics of very effective entrepreneurs, not just for this year, but for the next 10 years. These are the skills that you really must have if you're going to do your business properly and really be successful. Number one is having clear outcomes. I'm amazed how many business people go into business without a clear plan. They might have some sort of business plan, but they don't really know and have a clear idea of where they want to be in 3, 5, 10 years. They don't have an exit plan. How are they going to sell the business? Are they going to go public? How are they going to realise their potential? They don't have a clear vision that they can communicate to other people and their customers. And often people go into business because they can't get a job, or they're fed up with working with somebody else, or they want to make money, or they want to be self-employed. Well, being an entrepreneur is not being self-employed. I'll repeat this again. An entrepreneur is running a business. Being self-employed is when you might think you're running a business, but actually you're just working for yourself. If you are a plumber who's worked for someone else and you go and work on your own, you do effectively the same job, you are self-employed. If you're a plumber who then goes and sets up a business and employs lots of other people and doesn't actually do the plumbing but manages and leads the business, works on the business, not in it, then you are an entrepreneur. So which one are you? Are you setting up your business to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner, or just to be self-employed? If you're setting up to be self-employed, that's fine, but please be aware that there's a lid on what you can achieve. There's a real limit, and you'll probably never have a business that you can sell. You will be tied to that business. If you go on holiday, if you decide not to work, if you're ill, the business stops. That is not, in my view, a business. It's you as self-employed. So, entrepreneurs know what being an entrepreneur is, and they plan to build businesses. They don't plan to be self-employed. Next, do you have the right products in the right market? This is so important. People don't do their homework. They don't do their market research. They go into, typically what happens is you find a product and you say, wow, this is great. I love this product and my friends like it, my family like it. I'm going to go and find a market for it. Well, that is setting yourself up for failure most of the time, the vast majority of the time. Much better to find a market which has a proven demand, a market you understand, and then find products to sell to that market. Because you can find a number of products to sell to that market, but you go where the demand is. If you're trying to create demand, you are facing a huge uphill struggle. Doesn't mean you can't do it, and there are always exceptions to the rule, but the vast majority of successful businesses are based on finding the market first. The next one is having a powerful strategy. So you might have a clear outcome, but do you know how you're going to get there? A strategy is simply what are you going to do to achieve your outcome. As a business person, you can go in many different directions. You have the days, the weeks, and months ahead of you. You have some finance, you have some people maybe, you have your time, you have your energy. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to get from A to B? If you want to build a £10 million business, what are you actually going to do to get there? What sort of products do you need? What sort of people? What resources? What finance? What's the sales model? What is your strategy? And the clearer you are on your strategy, the better. And the clearer you are that your strategy works, the better. So you need to really test it and make sure that your ideas for getting your product to market, for building customers, for getting paid on time, it's all there. So be very clear about what your strategy is, rather than just following the next day, the latest opportunity. I see a lot of business owners who just are chasing after the latest opportunity rather than sticking to a clear plan and a clear strategy. Doesn't mean you can't change that strategy, but once you've committed to an outcome, once you've got your products and market right, then it's all about finding a best strategy. That could be based on price, which often does not work unless you're a very large organization. Could be based on offering the best customer service, the best value product, the highest quality. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as you're absolutely clear that you've got a strategy, and that it's a strategy which is rational and supported by the facts, by the evidence, and that you actually test it to make sure it works. The fourth characteristic is having a really strong sales process, and it's very important you get this right before paying a lot of money to generate leads. Now, imagine if you owned a shop, and in that shop you had no merchandising, the products looked awful, there were no trained staff, there was no signage on the front, and it was just dishevelled and looked awful. And you had that shop, and then you spent £20,000 on advertising on radio, TV, magazines, and you got several thousand people to your shop. And what would happen? Well, they'd all turn to the shop. Most of them wouldn't go in. Those that do wouldn't stay long. Those that stayed a bit longer probably wouldn't buy anything. So it's exactly the same for me with your website and with everything you do. You need to get your sales process, your shop, set up properly and make sure it works. Don't start sending lots of people to your website till you know that it works and that you can convert visitors into leads, whether you get their email address or get them to buy something. You need to get that sales process right first. And the sales process is simply often called the funnel, or it's a process from where you take leads to qualified prospects to customers and get that right. And then you can go to characteristic number 5, which is having productive marketing as opposed to unproductive marketing. So productive marketing is where you produce the right quantity and quality of leads that then result in more sales. The next characteristic is financial competency. You know, many businesses, some would say most businesses fail because they don't manage their finances properly. Sometimes it could be you're just underfunded from day one. You underestimate the actual costs of running a business. Other reasons are that you don't get your cash flow right. It's a big problem. You don't do your accounts properly. You don't have a clear budget, so you overspend at different times. Sometimes pricing's all wrong. But understanding money and finance is absolutely critical. And again, I'm amazed how many entrepreneurs have a very naive view of finance. And this is an area you really need to understand, because if you want to grow a successful business, you have to be able to manage your money effectively. If you want to grow a business as opposed to being self-employed, you're going to need to work with people. Now, talent could be employees, or it could be part-time workers, it could be temporary people, it could be people who you outsource to or venture with. But you have many different models for building a business, and this is one of the great things now, is you can build a multi-million-pound business with no staff, with very, very few, if that's what you want to do. But what you can't avoid is working with high-quality people. And this, as I said earlier, is critical because the world is so much more complex now. The level of skills we need to be able to keep up with all this change is huge, and I would really focus on finding 1 or 2 outstanding people to work with. And if that means giving stock, well, that's a possibility you should consider, or certainly some form of profit share, because your ability to attract, retain, develop talent will be the difference between growing a large successful business or stagnating, because you can't do it all on your own. A lot of entrepreneurs believe they can, and the worst thing is when you're actually a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, because you might do a little bit of programming, you might be quite good at accounts, you might be quite good at selling and marketing, so you dabble in all of these, but you never actually grow, because ultimately you're wasting your time. As a business owner, you should only be doing certain activities. At first that might be more sales and marketing oriented, but later on it should be managing a business, growing it, doing very high level work and recruiting people to replace you. Next characteristic is, if you really want to survive long term, you've got to put the customer first. Most of us probably go into business for our own reasons, because we want to be rich, we want to have freedom, independence, whatever it might be. But to build a successful business for the future, you have to put the customer's feelings and needs before your own and provide an extraordinary customer experience. Just doing what's on the label, just doing what you need to do is not enough anymore. It's all about making your customers go, wow. Because then, not only will they stay with you and become long-term, lifetime customers, they will tell other people about you. And it doesn't matter if you hire the best salesperson in the world, they'll never be as good as happy, delighted customers. They will be your best salespeople. So always put them first. Another big reason why businesses don't grow is because they don't put in the right systems and processes. So, again, it's like an entrepreneur trying to do everything themselves and never outsourcing, never putting in the systems and processes for growth. You can't scale a business. If you want to see the most scalable businesses out there, go into a McDonald's restaurant, study McDonald's or any other successful franchise. The great thing about a franchise is they have a model which is duplicatable anywhere. So, you will get the same food in London as you will in Newcastle, Belfast, but also probably New York, Singapore, Sydney. You'll get the same basic business. It's totally scalable. And you've got to create a business where everything is as operationally recorded and as sophisticated as a place like McDonald's. So people can come in and do any of the tasks. It's all documented. It's all systematized. And the final characteristic, and for me the number one factor, is you can have all the knowledge, you can have all the skills, you can manage a business very well, but it's about how well you manage yourself. And personal mastery is about how you stay at the top of your game throughout the time of running a business. It's, sports people, if you're a really top tennis player, you're going to train in fitness, you're going to train in your strength, in your conditioning, in your coordination. And I don't understand why entrepreneurs don't invest in their, do their own workout in terms of improving their concentration, their focus, their optimism, their energy, their resilience, mental toughness, because all of these are really the critical building blocks of being a successful entrepreneur. When you go down this road of being an entrepreneur, you are making a life choice, a huge life choice. You are going to work incredibly long hours. You're going to have to stay positive and with high energy and clear in your thinking for a lot of time for years to come. You've got to be fit physically and mentally. And one of the biggest things I teach is this whole area of personal mastery, is how to really focus on your own personal development so you are being the best entrepreneur you can be, because the success and failure of your business will often come down to how well you manage yourself, how well you manage your mood, your thoughts, your habits, how you appear to other people around you, whether you're positive, whether you're emotionally intelligent, whether you build relationships well. All of these are the most important skills of being an entrepreneur. So in simple terms, if we go to the right, if you want to improve your business performance, you need to improve your personal performance, especially in a small business where the entrepreneur is so critical. To improve your own business performance, you have to achieve personal mastery. And it all starts with the decisions you make. And the decisions that you make right now are going to determine your success, because there's never been a time when the decisions you make for your business are going to have more impact. Starting right now, what you decide to do each day over the next 12 months will determine the long-term success or failure of your business. And I can't promise you'll survive and prosper, but I can promise that I can help you increase your probability of success and dramatically reduce your risk of failure by focusing on helping you become expert in all 10 of these characteristics. You have it within your own hands. I would much rather have somebody with entrepreneurial mastery who didn't have circumstances go their way or didn't have exactly the right technical skills, than have somebody who has all the technical skills, all the luck going their way, but doesn't master the art of entrepreneurship. So this is within your control. And in simple terms, we want to help you move from the left column to the right column. And you can see this as a continuum. I'm not saying that you either have a very weak strategy or a very strong strategy. No, this could be on a scale of 1 to 10. But the more we move over to right in all of these areas, the better. And as an entrepreneur, we're often better in a particular area. If we're from sales and marketing, we're going to be happier there than we are in systems and processes or finance or recruiting talent. We all tend to gravitate towards our strengths. But when you're running a business, you've got these 10 spinning plates and you have to keep all 10 spinning. You can't let one of them go down, because it will affect everything else. So a very successful business has to work well in these areas. And I specialize in really helping people learn the best practices in each of these areas and how they're applied to their own particular business. So in 2013, your business could go one of two ways based on the decisions you make and act upon. And I want to go through something called the decision path. Every day, every hour, every minute even, we make small decisions, sometimes big decisions, that can move us towards failure and away from our outcomes, or can move us in green towards success. And I'd just like to go through some of the types of decisions based on these 10 characteristics of successful entrepreneurs that you'll be making over the next 12 months and beyond. Your first decision is, what is your outcome? Now, if you don't have a clear outcome or a vision and you don't really have a good business plan, then you are moving towards failure, and we can fill the red column. If, on the other hand, you have a clear outcome and a vision for the next 3 years, broken down into 12-month plans with specific monthly, weekly, and daily goals that keep you on track, you're very much moving in the right direction towards success. The next decision is, what is your market? Again, if you're in a big amorphous market, or you've got a product you like and you're trying to find a market for it, then you're moving towards failure. If, on the other hand, you have conducted formal research and really identified a segment or a niche where there's a strong proven demand for your products and services, then you're moving towards success. Do you have a growth strategy? If you don't, and if you just focus on providing services or following opportunities as they come up and customizing everything for what everybody wants, you are not creating a long-term viable business. If, on the other hand, you move from services to standard products and replace yourself as chief salesperson, you have strong systems and processes, you have a clear, scalable, replicable business, you are moving in the right direction. You have a clear strategy for growth that is achievable. What is your sales process? If you have no clear sales process, you just vary your pitch for different prospects, you are moving in the wrong direction. If you decide, though, to develop a really strong sales process that has a high conversion rate of prospects to customers and then repeat customers, you're moving towards success. If you're relying on word of mouth and you don't really have proper marketing channels or a strategic marketing, you're moving towards failure because you're never going to generate a long-term, consistent supply of leads. If, on the other hand, you really spend the time to create, measure and evaluate different marketing strategies, you can buy online and offline, and you optimize all of these until you get the desired results, you're building long-term, consistent supplies of leads. So you've made a decision here to build a strong, robust marketing strategy. If you make the decision not to really manage your finances effectively, well, it's absolutely clear that you will really be increasing your chances of failure here. And if you don't have good budgets, if you don't really know how you're doing financially day to day, your cash flow is poor, you're setting yourself up for a fall. If, on the other hand, you have solid financial controls and a budget that directs your financial decisions, and you're implementing best practices in areas like pricing, cash flow, you're increasing your odds of success. Do you have the right talent? Well, if you try and do it all yourself, if you decide just to hire people because they're available, they're friends and family, or you can afford them, you are going to be in big trouble. If, on the other hand, you decide to really focus on making talent a priority and only work with high quality people, you are moving in the right direction. Decision number 8. If you decide just to have an ordinary, mundane customer experience and just do the basics, you're going to struggle to keep long-term customers and to get referrals from them. If, on the other hand, you recognise the importance of really providing an amazing customer experience and you have a lot of happy customers and really develop referrals, you're moving in the right direction. Decision number 9. Are you going to set up systems and processes that are going to allow you to grow? Now, if you don't have the right systems and processes, if you don't have guides, manuals, if you're not clear what the key tasks are for building your business, you are always going to struggle to grow. If, on the other hand, you put in really robust systems and processes with step-by-step instructions for each critical area of the business, like sales, marketing, finance, operations, service, and you make it easy and simple for new people to learn the key tasks, then you can really scale and grow your business. And then the most important decision of all, what am I going to do to improve as an entrepreneur? Now, if you don't invest in coaching or training or any form of learning to become a better entrepreneur, it's unlikely you're going to become a better entrepreneur. Yes, you can get there by trial and error, but trial and error can be a lot more error than anything else. And the thing is, you're not really learning a lot of the time from your experience. So the key here is to really decide to invest in improving yourself and believe that investing in your performance as an entrepreneur is a critical success factor in the growth of your business. So you're learning how to avoid a lot of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make, to find the really powerful shortcuts and strategies that will reduce your risk and increase your chances of success. So you get coaching, you do reading, you keep a journal of what's worked and what hasn't worked, you focus on continuous improvement. This is the absolute number one thing that you can do to increase your chances of success. Because when you start out in business, with all the changes happening now, we don't know what products, what markets, what strategies, what people we're going to end up with. We can't control a lot of these things. What we can control, though, is our own ability to learn and grow and do the right things at the right time in the right way. We have control to a large extent over our own performance. So it's even more important that we spend the time to get it right. And on that note, I can promise you that I will help you make 2013 the year you really transform your business and your life. And in simple terms, if you're with me so far, if you agree with what I'm saying, I can promise I'll coach you to become an outstanding entrepreneur. And I'd like to end by just telling you a few of the key points about the Fast Growth Club and how we can help you implement these 10 strategies and dramatically increase your chances of success. So as I said earlier, one of the reasons for joining the club is what got you here will not get you there. In our club, you're going to learn new strategies, new ways of thinking, new tools, and broaden your choices. Have far more choice so you can make better business decisions. Secondly, when you join our club, you're going to increase the sales, profitability, and the value of your business. We're going to motivate you, guide you, mentor you, and give you the honest feedback that you have to ensure you make better decisions and that you act on them too and be accountable to us. And this is so important. When you develop your own blueprint for growth and you gain the rest of the club as your own board of advisors dedicated to your success, again, you're increasing your chances of success. And you'll have a team of proven entrepreneurs to share this journey with you and keep you on track. You'll be accountable. You'll have access to the most powerful cutting-edge marketing, management, personal development strategies. Let us do the work. We are researching the best practices every day so that you always have these valuable resources at your disposal. You're going to get amazing support. Our team of experts are here to help you navigate these complex waters of fast business growth. You have a database of online and offline of great strategies and practices. And you'll have me really helping you along the way. As I said earlier, I'm going to apply my unique track record as a coach, entrepreneur, marketing, personal development expert to really ensure you become the best entrepreneur you can be. You master this practice of entrepreneurship and achieve your business and personal goals. And you've invested in your business, in your team, in your technology, but how much do you invest in your most important asset of all? Surely it's time you invested in yourself. So if you'd like to know more, if you'd like to talk to me and learn about how we can really help you achieve your goals, give me a call at this number or email me. I'm here to help you, and I'd like to thank you for watching this. And I'd like to guarantee you that I will do everything I can to make you the most successful entrepreneur you can be. Thanks again.